The American Gentleman here, and I'm back with a vengeance.
I'm packing to add this gas or what?
What if everything you knew was wrong? What if everything you've been taught is a lie? What if down was up and up was left? Today we're talking about the movie The Sound of Freedom, and this rabbit hole goes much deeper than I ever thought possible. And don't worry, your boy has uncovered a plot that makes QAnon and Pizzagate looks like Greta Thunberg's oil-free finger paintings.
How dare you!
Now, I'm not much of a conspiracy theorist. I only believe every conspiracy theorist I've ever heard, but this one is much different. It's like Morpheus himself came to me while I was doom scrolling on the toilet. With a twinkle in his eye and 2 fistfuls of pills, he gave me a choice. And without hesitation, I grabbed both of his wrists and took both them some bitches as fast as I could. And just then, the heavens opened up and I was gone. It was like Joe Rogan himself blew DMT smoke straight into my asshole while in a sensory deprivation chamber on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin. When I awoke, I found Morpheus' hidden stash, and instead of selling it to you like the greedy capitalist I am, I'm decided I'm gonna mainline it straight into your veins this time you get the truth. Now before I tie the tourniquet around your arm, there's a few things you need to know. Disclaimer, my dad said I should put in a disclaimer, and he's probably right. I'm a conservative Christian, and I stand with the victims of trafficking. As soon as this movie came out, the left unjustifiably attacked this movie, and that is very, very sad. But right now, this is not what we're talking about. We're not talking about the contents of the movie. We're talking about the people who make it, okay? I love you guys. Back to the video. Let's start by what you already know, and then we'll move into things that you will have never guessed in a million years. So you're gonna have to stay tuned. I've never found a single video addressing this issue. Let's begin. On the 4th of July of 2023, while everyone in San Francisco was showing their penises off to kids, Angel Studios released a movie called The Sound of Freedom, starring Jim Caviezel, the same actor who played Jesus in The Passion of the Christ. In this based on a true story movie, Caviezel plays a federal agent from the Department of Homeland Security named Tim Ballard, who quit his job to embark on a dangerous mission through the jungles of Colombia to save children from human trafficking in Operation Underground Railroad. But little do people know, Angel Studios did not make this movie. The film was finished in 2018 by 20th Century Fox. But after the company's merger with Disney, it was shelved, never to see the light of day again. Until years later, a company called Angel Studios bought the rights to this film and took it as their own. What is Angel Studios, you might ask? Angel Studios is an entertainment organization that released faith-based content to its mostly Christian audience. They even have a platform called VidAngel to where you can take all the cursing, drugs, violence, and sex out of your favorite movies. This is a popular tool for lukewarm Christians who still want to keep up with their favorite shows like The Icon and Game of Thrones without having to worry about their pesky conscience. They also make a record-breaking TV series called The Chosen about the life and ministry of Jesus Christ. And they managed to crowdsource a whopping $37 million for the first 2 seasons with 314 million viewers. So basically, this type of company seems like a Christian's wet dream. But what's the problem? And here's the first important question. Who owns Angel Studios? When you look into Angel Studios, you find out they're owned by 2 brothers, Neil and Jeffrey Harmon. And these guys are 2 devoted followers to the Church of Latter-day Saints, aka the Mormons. And like a police dog trained to sniff out drugs, that was the only piece of information I needed to put my ears at attention and to pick up the trail of foul odor that's gonna lead right into the heart of this conspiracy. So, in case you didn't know, the Mormons are no typical church. They play by their own rules. And to understand this real quick, we're going to have to start at the beginning of who they are. Around 1823, when all the true cowboys was roaming the wild, wild west, there was a sharp-dressed 24-year-old that was making his way through the countryside. He started in Vermont and was slowly making his way over to Salt Lake City, Utah. Along the way, he met a man with very valuable Egyptian hieroglyphics, and he promised the guy that he could translate it. He said all he needed was a few days, so Mr. Smith did what any respectable Christian would do. He stole it and moved far, far away from his ops. And this wasn't the first or the last person that he'd scam along the way. One day, as he was making his way through New York, Randomly, he got jump scared by an angel with 2 golden tablets. Oh, how about that? And just like a heavenly librarian, he told him he could borrow the books. He could check them out from the Lord's library, as long as he wrote down the contents of and returned it back in a timely manner. You don't want a late fee from Jesus, I'm gonna tell you that. Instead of melting down these 2 golden tablets and selling them under spot price, he decided that he'd make good on his word for once in his life. So excited about the new commandments that were handed down to him in these golden tablets, he couldn't wait to tell everyone he saw. And now, with the whole town curious about God's new revelation to man, he laid it on them, brother. Everything was the same as they had already believed, except one part. You can now marry as many wives as you want, and age ain't nothing but a number. Woo! Party at church at 7 p.m. Now, a few weirdos with some money really took to this group. But as for the rest of society, they couldn't stand him. And the more he was chased out of town, the more followers he would acquire. But that all came to an end in 1844, when Joseph Smith declared martial law and incited a riot which led to his arrest for treason against the United States government. He also was wanted in Missouri after conspiring to kill the governor in 1838. Folks, I cannot make this stuff up. I am not that creative. While praying in his jail cell one night, he did what any God-fearing Christian would do. He got one of his followers to smuggle him in a gun, and he tried to break out of jail. This man was playing GTA 5 in real life while everyone else was playing Oregon Trail. Thankfully, he never made it out of jail and was killed by an angry mob that hated him. What a story. So let's fast forward to the Mormons today, because yeah, they're still out there, and they're bigger than you think. Mormons, get this, Mormons now have an investment portfolio of over $100 billion. Billion with a B. This is one of the largest investment portfolios of all time. How? They even have $46.2 billion in the stock market right now. They have $669 million in Meta, Facebook. $682 million in Johnson & Johnson, $710 million in MasterCard, $720 million in Nvidia, $808 million in Exxon, $967 million in Amazon, and I can keep on going and going and going. These people have FU money. Hell, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which at one time he was the richest man in the world, they only have $69 billion in an investment portfolio. Almost half. And Harvard's endowment is only $53 billion. These people have some money. Okay, so how in the world do they have this much money, and what the hell are they doing with it? Now, let's go back to their lifestyle. The Mormons are a bunch of rich guys with money that want to be the head of their household and follow traditional values. But they also want to have as many wives as they want, whatever age they want. And because of their lifestyle choices, they were forced to leave their hometown of Salt Lake City, Utah, to try to find a better place that would more tolerate their lifestyle. And they needed to do it quickly. So they decided to move to Mexico. So they loaded up all their possessions and their underage wives, and they headed down south. Yeehaw! To a more laid-back place with no laws. And it's not because of White Claws. I don't know if you're following, so let's recap. The Mormons are a group of super elite rich men that, in order to circumvent the American justice system, they have smuggled their undocumented underage brides across the border into Mexico into a fortified compound in which they cannot escape. Okay, are you hearing this? Are you hearing this? Then, once they get trafficked into Mexico, then the Mexicans have been breaking into their fortified compound and taking all of their women and then selling them on the streets for pennies on the dollar. So not only do they get trafficked once, but a lot of them are getting trafficked a second time. So much so that the Mormons had to start taking up arms with fully automatic machine guns and started what Vice News calls the Mexican Mormon War. This is real stuff, folks. Look it up. The Mormons releasing Sound of Freedom is like Jeffrey Dahmer releasing a documentary on how bad school shooters are. It is like the Pope standing against pedophilia. It is like Adam 22 exposing Satanism in rap music. It's just hypocritical. It doesn't make any sense. The Mormons, to me, in my opinion, allegedly are the traffickers. And the traffickers traffickers are making a movie about human trafficking. How insane is this? Hiding in plain sight. And not only are they hiding in plain sight, they're making millions upon millions off of you. Oh, hey, check out this movie of all these kids getting trafficked. Thank you. The proceeds will go to help kids get trafficked. I'm a Christian, and personally, I like the show The Chosen, but somebody needs to check in on Angel Studios. Just keep an eye on them. Most of the women nowadays are born into Mormonism and do not have a choice. They've been from birth, and their minds are controlled, and they think this stuff is normal. This is truly a story about rich and powerful men that have a large-scale human trafficking ring that also want to bring awareness to the evils of human trafficking. Are you with me? What world do we live? What planet am I on? Nowadays, you can't trust anything you see. You can't trust no organization. And these people have been hiding in plain sight until today. Now I am sending you off with a mission to share this video and to share the light with as many people as you can find. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I want to know your comments down below. Do you think that the Church of LDS is the way, the truth, and the light? Or do you think there's something much sinister under the surface? Do you think Joseph Smith was a great religious leader? Or did he set in motion a plan of slavery for generations to come? And is all that investment money normal, or is that a red flag that shouldn't be ignored? And as always, if you don't remember one thing from this video, I want you to remember this. Don't forget to be good on your way to becoming great. And I know you're becoming great. I love you, and see you soon. God bless. You Louis V and Gucci. I burn the block down before I wear it. Thought you was a man, why you need that shit? Drop you down and diamonds like a